Hi again, guys. This is going to be a lesson in multiplying and dividing with integers here. Okay. So what I have up front right here is the rules that it says multiplication for just integers, but it's also for division. Okay. Both of these rules apply. Okay. So pretty much anytime we're multiplying or dividing, anytime we're multiplying or dividing with two positives, a positive times a positive will result in a positive solution. That's what you guys have done since third, fourth grade. You guys have never had to change that. The new additions here are when you have two negatives. So now you have two negative numbers. You're either multiplying or dividing them there, and we are actually going to end up with a positive answer as well. Okay? With a positive times a negative or a positive divided by a negative, we will end up with a negative answer. And then vice versa, a positive times a negative or a negative times a positive or a negative divided by a positive will also give us a negative. Pretty much the general rule of thumb here is that if you have an even number of negatives, your answer is going to be a positive. If you have an odd number of negatives, like you see here, 1, 1, both the answers are negative. Okay, so that's our general rule of thumb when multiplying and dividing with both of these, with integers. Okay, so a couple examples here. Here's how I like to think about it. I like to take care of my sign first. So I like to think about I have a negative times a positive, and by my rule, I have an odd number of negatives there, which means my answer is going to be negative. So I write the negative in right away, and then I just multiply 7 times 5, which is 35. Therefore, answer is negative 35. Now, that whole trick of using even odd number of negatives is really helpful when you get more longer problems, okay? So I just have to count here my negatives. I have 1, I have 2, I have 3 negatives. Well, 3 is an odd number, so that means my answer here is going to be a negative. So I'm going to write in the negative sign right away, and then I just have to multiply from left to right. 6 times 10 is 60, and then 60 times 8 is 480, negative 480. I'll do that one more time at the bottom here, okay? I have a negative 9, I have a positive 9, and I have a negative 5. So we have to ask ourselves, what type of answer are we going to get in the end here? We have an even number of negatives, which therefore means our answer is going to be positive. I'm not going to write anything in here, okay? And then you can go through with your multiplication, okay? So you can probably take care of your 9 times 9. So if you want to take care of your 9 times 9, I'll undo that. We'll make that 81, or excuse me, negative 81 if you want to think about it that way. And then times negative 5, which then we already know our answer is going to be positive. We're going to take 81 times 5, which if you can't do that mentally in your head, just write it down vertically and multiply the old school way. So we're actually not going to carry anything. It becomes 405. Final solution, 405. Division, very much the same, okay? So now I have a negative and a negative, which I know my answer is going to leave me with a positive. So I'm not going to write in a solution there. And now I just have to take 60 and divide it by 15. 60 divided by 15 is 4, positive 4, I'm done. Same thing, I have a negative, another negative, even number of negatives. I know my answer is going to be positive, and then 132 divided by 11 is 12. Lastly, you may see division show up as a fraction, and that's okay. We know that fractions are just another way to express a division problem. So here I got to think, I have a negative number, I have a positive number, odd number of negatives here. My answer is going to be negative, and then 144 divided by 12 is 12.